So, I've got a couple of different things of around perception. And when I say perception, it means the way you look at something. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever looked at something, seen let's say a text message, you read it one way, and because of your perception of how you read it, you maybe got angry or annoyed. And when you spoke to the person, they meant something different. Anybody ever been in that situation? Yeah. Okay. So that is what I mean by your perception. There's going to be different areas of your life that because of the way you see something, it can change the outcome. See, Albert Einstein said that nothing is good or bad, it's your thinking that makes it so. Write this down. Nothing is good or bad, it's your thinking that makes it so. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you were to, let's say there was a man that went onto a train with his young kids. He had three or maybe four young kids, and the carriage was full. These kids were running around, throwing stuff. They were screaming, and the man wasn't paying attention to the kids. Everyone on the carriage is looking at this man like, "Are you going to do something? These kids are out of control." But the man had his back turned to most of the people. Kids are just there, just running, throwing things, hitting people on the train. Let me ask you, if you're in that situation, you're sitting on that train, there's kids running around, hitting you, bothering you, screaming. How would you respond to that? Would you be annoyed? Or would you be like, oh, it's fine? Most of you be annoyed, right? You'd be telling you in your head, you'd be thinking, can you just make sure that these kids stop running around and getting on my nerves? So eventually someone gets so annoyed that they go up to the man, tap him on the shoulder, and they are just about to shout at him and say, can you look after your kids? Not so nicely. And the man turns around and he's just crying. So now the father of the kids is just crying. And so the person that's approached him is now like frozen. They don't understand what's happened. He says to the father, are you okay? And the father says, no, I'm not. 5 minutes ago, I just found out that my wife died. And now all of a sudden, everyone's doesn't care about what the kids are doing anymore. All they care about is he okay? See, that's perception. That's what we mean by nothing is good or bad. It's just your thinking that makes it so. Just something, just because of now you understand why. Now your thinking has completely changed towards it. Okay. So I want to ask you a question. What is your thinking? What is your perception towards the importance of personal development? And I want this to be interactive. Do you think it's something that is important? How do you see personal development? Why is it important? I know Alexandra was going to say it's super important, and I want her to share today as well. If you can unmute any of the sapphires and above, if you can unmute and you want to share, then definitely go ahead and share. And if you can't unmute, then put it in the chat. Kathleen, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll unmute before I jump off. So personal development is critical. It's what makes the big difference in your life. And I want to say most of my personal development was in the corporate space. So I'd heard that story on Perception already. So I was personally developed in the corporate space to help make them millions of dollars. It's a huge difference learning and personally developing yourself to make you wealthy. And so that's, and I can say, you know, with all the training that I've been to, the personal development journey I've been on with this business has been hard and life-changing at the same time. So I just thought I'd share that. And I don't know if I can get on and share, but I just thought I'd share that before I go back to my corporate day job.
And I appreciate you coming on and sharing, Kathleen. I know many people need to hear more from Kathleen. She has she's at the pinnacle of the corporate ladder in oil and gas. So Kathleen has had a very, very successful career in the corporate. And so I see many of you, and we're definitely going to hear more from Kathleen when she can give us some more time around the corporate the day job. But I'm just reading the chat here. Development is opening of the mindset. We can become better not only for ourselves, but the people who are around us, and enrich the quality of our life. And that's how I see personal development. Personal development to me is like the food for the brain. If you're not going to go a day without eating, you should not go a day without personal development. That's my perception of personal development. But let me ask you, why do you think some people don't see it as so important? Why? And just let's be honest. I want you to be honest with me. Are you personally developing? Are you reading something or listening to something positive for at least 15 to 30 minutes a day? For the last 30 days, some of you may be a bit newer, but for the last 30 days, have you listened or read something positive every day for the last 30 days? I want you to be honest. Put in the chat. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Wow. Personal development is super important. I should already know that you guys are on this call every week. Okay. So I'm gonna share a story with you as to the power of information. And I shared this with Alexandra earlier. So during the pandemic, there was the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Everybody remember that? It was everywhere. Okay. And I got consumed in it for about a week. I was consuming so much negative information about racism and different things, mainly about racism. And after 3 or 4 days, I went into almost a depressive state, had no energy, no motivation to do anything. And it was only that it was maybe the 5th or 6th day I shut myself off from everyone. And Mr. Hunt called me and he said, I haven't heard from you. You okay? And I said, right now, no. And he asked me and he said, what's been going on? And I said, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter thing and et cetera, et cetera. And I explained to him I had no motivation. I was feeling depressed mentally. And my body, even though I work out, I had no energy. I had no strength. And so because of the information I was consuming in my brain, it affected me physically. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been or spoken to a person that is just so negative that you come away from them feeling physically drained and you feel like you need to sleep? Or you just feel exhausted from a conversation? Yeah? Yeah? That's the power of information. Your mind controls your body. This is why personal development is so important to me. That was a wake-up call to me to realize that if I don't continue to put positive information into my mind, I'm going to be somebody that isn't happy. If I allow negative information, negative people to tell me negative information, it's going to affect me physically. Have you ever thought about it like that in terms of personal development? It's going to affect my health. Physical health, not mental health, physical. Yeah. This is why I stopped watching the news and television. Again, why do you think that the news only puts out negative information? Because if they can control you mentally, make you weak physically, your mind is now weak. So it's easier to influence you. You ever thought about that? It's easier to influence you. So when they tell you to do jump, you say how high. I know there's some people that are there's some certain things that you now see that are coming out in the media, and you're like, wow, so many people were influenced because of the negativity that was in their brain, that they didn't know that they were being controlled mentally because of the negative information that they were consuming too much of. Which is why personal development, that your perception of personal development has to be that it's life or death. For me, that's how I see personal development, life or death. So it's not negotiable to me. That's why it's every day I have to do it. Okay. I want you to pay attention to something. Every time I see Mr. Holton Buggs in the general public when he's out, have you noticed he's always got a headphone in? He's always got an AirPod in. If you haven't seen it and you follow Erlene Buggs on social media, I highly recommend following her. Look and you'll see Mr. Buggs always has an AirPod in. It's not because he's listening to music. It's because he's always got positive information going into his brain. Because personal development and our brain is the most valuable asset that we have. Are you treating it like that? Are you treating your brain as if it's your car? I want you to think you just bought a brand new Lamborghini or whatever car it is, Rolls Royce. How are you going to treat that car? Do you give the same care to your brain that you give to a car? That's how I see personal development. I want you to also ask you, what is your perception around money? Have you grown up with a negative perception around money or positive? Positive. Alina says positive. I am glad you grew up with a positive perception around money. Denisa says positive. So you didn't hear any conversations about the lack of money around you when you grew up? Did you hear that? You did? Okay. Okay, Alina says, I don't care, I create my own world. I like that. Many times, a lot. Okay, we heard it. Okay. Now let me explain to you. Most people have heard this. So if there's a lack of something, what happens? You try and keep it. You're scared of losing it if there's lack, right? So why do you think that when you tell someone to invest in something, they're scared of investing? Because they're scared that they're going to lose it because of perception. The perception that there's been programmed into their brain. Logic says the wealthiest people in the world, all of them invest. Not what you can't find me. We can't find me one wealthy person in the world that doesn't invest. Not one. But what happens is there's a trigger that goes off in your brain and says, this is my perception around money, because you're scared to lose because you think it doesn't come back. Because of how the things you heard when growing up. Yeah, money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. What do you think I'm made of money? Those types of, you heard those types of things? Yeah. We've all heard these types of things. We've all heard you got to work for money. You got to work hard. Anybody heard that? You got to work hard. Make sure you work hard. Well, why is it that the people that make the most money hardly work? Because you've been programmed to work for money. So when you think of money, you think of work, and that's what goes on in your head. That's the first thing that goes on in your head. Do you understand why mindset is what makes more money for you now? It's when I started to change my mindset as, why do I have to work harder? Why don't I get my money to work harder for me? It's only once I went into that realm of starting to listen to different people that my mind changed towards how I see money. Is that making sense? I never used to see money as abundant. I never used to see money as, oh, you can give a tip to someone when you're going for a meal. You can tip. You can give away extra money. Give away extra. I didn't grow up with people giving away extra money when they've just paid for something. It was always, no. Why is it so expensive? This has gone up by 2 pence. This has gone up by 10 pence. Why has this gone up? Oh my God, it's gone up by £1 or €1. Anybody heard that type of message being repeated? So now what happens is the relationship you have with money is formed in your brain, and that's now the perception that you have, which is what you have to change. That perception of money has to change for you to have more of it. Just that alone will make you more money. If you
Tak už len toto samé vám zarobí viac peňazí.
you unmuted yourself, you want to add to that?
Yes.
Alexandra? Okay. If you want to add to it, go ahead and unmute. But is that making sense in terms of changing the perception that you have towards it? That's where it starts. If you want more. And so this is what you have to do. If you want to change the perception, you've got to start continuing the personal development. Listen to people that have money. What do they say about money? Have you read The Richest Man in Babylon? If you haven't read it, I highly recommend The Richest Man in Babylon, the book. It talks about what you should be doing with your money. Your money should be making you more money, and that money should be making you more money. And then that money should be making you more money. How many times, let's say you have one income. This is what we're teaching. One income creates a second income. That second income creates the third income. The third income should create a fourth income. The message I heard growing up was work hard at the job. One income. You can't become wealthy like that. You can't. So let me ask you, what's your perception towards money? What's your perception towards investing in yourself? When someone says, this is going to cost you 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 to invest into your own education, what comes into your head? If I said to you, there's no guarantee, but you get to spend a week with Holton Buggs, it's going to cost you £15,000 or 15,000 euros. He's going to teach you everything he knows. What comes into your head? When? Yeah, no, I understand. It should be when. You see, if it's because, if you think, oh, that's too much money, it's because you're scared of the money not coming back. And so you have that lack mentality, perception towards money. I set a goal to pay Grant Cardone 30 grand to just learn from him in property and become one of his investors. I set a goal to do that. I can't wait to pay him that money. The younger me before personal development would have said, well, why do I have to pay him? He's already a billionaire. The me that understands now is he's already a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire yet. So of course I'm going to pay him to teach me what he knows. He doesn't need me. This is why I am in iBoomerang. Holton Buggs doesn't need me. You get that? He does not need any of us. Right? That's why I'm here, because he doesn't need me. And I'm willing to pay to be around him because of the information. Okay. What is your mind? Go ahead.
I don't know if I can share now about money.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I would like Katka, I would like to ask Katka if she can translate. Awesome. Budeš popri, hej? Ja ťa budem nahrávať tu na. Super, ďakujem. So I was doing an interesting exercise about money a few days ago. And
Takže ja som robila zaujímavé.
Počkaj, tu nás to musím stíšiť. Sekundu. Sorry, technical things. How do I don't know how to mute it on my other Zoom, so I have to put it under covers.
Maybe just turn it down as well. Turn it down.
And turn it down, of course.
Yeah, go for it.
So I was doing a very interesting exercise where I would sit in the energy of money. And I understand that people label or give money all kinds of roles that the money has nothing to do with. Majority of people don't understand money at all. And I felt in this exercise, and we can do it someday, basically it's like family constellations where you, every person is capable of saying, now I'm sitting in the energy of such and such. Yeah, you just relax and you have the ability to just say, and you can move physically from one chair to another, saying, in this chair sits money. And now I'm sitting in the energy of money. And when you do that, or when I've done that, I first time in my life felt energy of money. And that moment I understood all the misunderstanding, because money is really what we say it's energy. It's really just the pure, beautiful, golden energy that's how I perceived instantly. And it's very supportive energy. It's like the energy of source. It is the energy of source. And everything, I believe, or I feel, everything that surrounds us has intelligence, has frequency, has certain intelligence. And this intelligence of money gave me a message that all that money wants is to create joy. And there is an expert on money that says, look into your purse and ask if your money is happy or is sad. Happy money is money that we create when we do something with purpose, for example, something that our heart leads us to, that our soul leads us to, or that is embedding the lives of people. That's why we are probably drawn to this project, or that's why I am drawn to this project, because it not only embeds my life, but lives of other people. So money that are created this way are happy money, but also the owner of the purse needs to give the money, understanding that the second that I give the money to something, at the other end, it creates some kind of joy. If I pay in a store and it creates the joy of the owners of the store, fantastic. Or if I pay, yes, even that's why rich people give extra tip, because they can experience the joy instantly. That's why rich people sometimes just gift money. When I used to work as a waitress in Vegas, there was one particular customer that would tip everybody 100 from the door. He was the owner of a chocolate factory. And he definitely, that's why he is rich, because he understands these principles. That's first thing. But really, to next time you go and pay for something, pay for your bills, give the money the opportunity to create joy, either to you or to somebody else. If you pay for your bills, understand that thanks to the money, you have the roof over your head. You can feel warm or whatever it gives you. And there can be an exercise that for several days, you just say thank you anytime you receive money and anytime you give money. Because this programming creates all kinds of ugly feelings in us. And when we start shedding light to these feelings, we'll be amazed, and it can be really easily changed as well. All we don't want is to attach to money any negative feelings. For example, if you receive less than you were waiting for, right? Than you were expecting. So many people get frustrated. But if you can do that in that moment, you consciously decide to be thankful, the money will feel joyful next to you, and they will want to bring their friends. Because, as Mr. Bond said before, money is like if you realize everything around money in English has attached water meaning to it. Bank is really a river bank. That's where it comes from. Or currency in English is from word current, water current. Money, love, it's an element of water. It loves to move and create joy, create positive vibes for humankind. So we can give them the right place, and then they can come more and more to our lives, because there is a lot of trauma attached to money. That's why I personally perceive the journey to myself also through the money is because to money there is attached the strongest fears. It's basically the fear of your body to survive. So that's why it's so strong. That's why so many people, many also spiritual people want to push money away, because some people, majority of people, experience some kind of trauma with money. Either we experienced it, maybe our parents argued or got divorced or something happened. So at that point we can get money is bad and we don't even realize. Or our ancestors for sure went through some kind of trauma around money, and we inherited through our DNA. So we can, though, because we are very conscious beings, at this moment, from this moment, we can separate all that stuff, all the nonsense that we were programmed with from money. Leave the money away from it so that it can serve you, so that the energy can truly serve you, your family. And from this moment, just decide to be always thankful. Always thankful whenever you pay in store, whenever you pay for your bills, whenever somebody pays you something. And try to also, if possible, give a little extra sometimes. Just you can give so much joy with 2 euros extra that you, or 5 euros extra that you give to someone that is serving you in restaurant or somewhere, and just take it as for 5 euros, I bought energy of joy for myself. And this all can take a compound effect when you decide to do this. This is what we were discussing today with Mr. Bond, that everything is compounded. Also, how we perceive things. This is a perception of money. And we can start searching this kind of perception to everything, where I can find the good in it, because everything is happening to us for our best. Majority of us kind of knows it, but when it happens, that's the moment when we can consciously decide, where can I find something good in this? What am I blind to? What am I not seeing? Where is the love in this? And also because of money, because we use it so much, we can start having this habit of seeing having the positive or the conscious decision of trying to find the positive in things. And I realized that all the rich people that I personally know, or the wealthy, I mean, that they're bohati, yeah? They have everything, that they are very thankful, they're appreciative. So thank you for this space, Mr. Bond, that I could share. Thank you for listening.
I wanna thank you for sharing. First of all, Alexandra, who took a lot away from what Alexandra said. I had so many thoughts going through my head. when Alexandra was speaking there, because it's true. Everything she said is true. It's all about how you look at things. If you believe more is coming back, you will give more. See, if your perception is, if I give this, more comes back, then you give more. You see, what I've learned over time is the people that give the most are the ones that receive the most. Let me say that again. What I've watched and seen over time is the people that give the most are the ones that receive the most. I remember seeing Mr. Hunt just tipping everybody. Like everywhere we went, he just giving away money. And then out of nowhere, £1 million trading account just appears. Was it an accident, or did that happen on purpose? Think about it. I want you to think about this, because this is what we don't get taught. Everything, every aspect of your life, you invest. Every aspect. With no guarantee. Let me give you an example. When you go to sleep tonight, you're investing in having energy and being alert for the next day. What you're doing is you're investing. But there's no guarantee you're going to wake up with loads of energy and be alert the next day. Where's the guarantee? If you have children, you're investing time and money and love, but there's no guarantee they're going to love you back. There's none. But you invest. If you get into a relationship, you invest time and money with that person. Imagine getting into a relationship with someone and you invest nothing with them. You don't invest any time or money. How is that relationship going to end up? Not so good, right? So it's the same thing with money. It's the same relationship you have to have. It's a relationship. You have to respect it. When you don't respect it, it doesn't respect you. It's not going to come back with friends. If you don't make it feel good, it's not coming back with friends. Okay. So I want you to change your perception around that. And so there's a couple more things, but I know we have the training call with Mr. Hunt. So if there's any questions that anybody has around challenges that they've had, and I'm going to give you an example of a challenge that I had. Well, I thought it was a challenge. So growing up, my mom and dad split up when I was young. My mom had a terrible relationship with money. More that came in, the more went out. Okay. Anytime she made more money, like the money was gone. You know those people that they're getting paid a bit more and now they've already spent it before they got paid? Right? That was my mom. Still is my mom, right? Whereas my dad, he had a good relationship with money. He always had money. But I had a negative relationship with him. And so what I was hearing growing up is, your dad's greedy. From my mom's side of the family, I was hearing your dad's greedy. Just because he's got money, he thinks he's better than everybody. He should be a better dad, etc., etc., etc. From my dad, all I heard is towards my mom is she should be better with money. Why she hasn't done this? She hasn't done that. Why hasn't she invested in this and that? So what do you think my perception was around my mom and my dad growing up? Mom, I was resentful towards my mom for not doing so good with money. And I was also resentful towards my dad, thinking, you have the money, you could have set me up for life. You could have set me up with a business or got me involved very early. Okay. That was my perception growing up. So I was angry, rebellious for a good 20, 22 years of my life because of that perception that I had. Until I realized through personal development and through conversations of somebody giving me a different perspective. This is why mentorship is so important. Is that the relationship I had with my mom, they made me look at, well, the love that came from my mom and my family on my mom's side, that made me somebody that was very empathetic. The lack of investment from my dad towards me made me somebody that is hungry and ambitious. So if that didn't happen for me, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be on this call with you guys today. I wouldn't have the same desire for people to grow around me. I wouldn't have the same desire to help people. And just that switch of perception towards challenges, what I saw as challenges, it made me grateful. Now I'm grateful for my dad. I'm grateful for my mom. I'm grateful for the experiences that I had growing up. Yeah, I went from the victim to the winner. And now what I want you to think about is 3 people that have hurt you. I want you to send gratitude towards them. You don't have to send them a message, but I want you to you don't have to send them a message or even talk to them. Maybe you don't have to talk to them, but I want you to have gratitude. I want you to say affirmations, nice things towards those people. Guess what? It makes you a stronger person. It's a frequency. I didn't realize that I was hanging myself and choking myself, stopping my own potential because of the resentment that I had. It wasn't hurting neither of them, my mom or my dad, it was hurting me because of my perception that I had. The minute I changed the way I looked at it, it was like I was free. It was like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. Now, whatever challenges or traumas that you've had or you've gone through, I want you to look at, well, what am I supposed to learn from this? I want you to think, what is the positive that is coming from this? What's the positive that's come from this? I'm going to give you an I want to explain something to you. Every time I've been working and growing and developing, making more money than having a little slump, making more money than having a little slump, and then making more money than I've ever made than having a little slump. Guess what happened? It's made me more humble. it's made me focus on what to do with money. It's made me understand, okay, invest. Be smart with your money. Be smarter. Diversify more. Go and understand money more. If it went straight up like this and I never had any challenges, and I got to a certain point where I'm a millionaire and now I have a challenge, now I'm not confident about what to do. Because if you don't know what to do with 1,000, you don't know what to do with 1,000,000. Does that make sense to everyone? So I'd rather you have financial challenges now with less, which makes you focus on making sure, okay, I need to understand this better. I need to understand what I need to do with my money better. I'd rather you have it now before you run into a fortune, because you will if you focus and you're consistent for long enough. I hope that makes sense to everyone. I'm hoping this is getting through to you about just the perception of the way you look at things. Every time I have a challenge, I'm like, what? Okay, it hurts, but what am I supposed to learn from this? What is this supposed to teach me? My perception of network marketing. What's your perception on network marketing? How do you see network marketing? Oh, that's just a question I have for you. Alexandra, can you translate?
I did. Rzeczy są wam to
They're one in the chat. Okay. But what's your perception around network marketing? What's your, and the different aspects? For me, I don't see sponsoring someone as recruiting them.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to translate.
Okay, so translate, yeah.
Beautiful. So Katka says, beautiful topic. I love you. I also went through tribulation. I was doing business for 15 years,
Mhm.
and I look at things as Rowan. I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Right. But it's just, I want you to understand, and we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes, guys. But I want you to understand that the way you look at things is the most important thing. You can look at it in a positive or you can look at it in negative. That is always your choice. Whatever's happened is not good or bad. It's just the way you look at it. Okay, so I don't see it as recruiting. I see it as I'm serving. I'm helping. I don't see getting customers as CEO circle. I see it as I'm changing someone's life. They have this skill. I'm changing your life. That's how I see it with trading. You see, and I said to Alexandra earlier, I don't see David Hunt as he has to inspire me and he has to be the one that pushes me to keep growing. I see it as my job is to keep growing, to inspire him to keep growing as well. Because if he keeps growing and I keep growing, guess what? Everybody else around us is going to keep growing. I don't want him to stop. I don't want him to get comfortable. So I've got to keep growing. My perception has changed. It's not his responsibility to make sure that I'm successful. It's my responsibility to make sure that he's more successful because I'm here. That's how I look at it. When you just change the way you look at things, guys, I'm telling you, your life just completely changes. It completely changes because now you're not so emotional about when things happen. Bad things happen to everybody. How do you feel about making mistakes? Really, honestly, this is something I'm still working on. But what's your perception about making a mistake? Most of us have grown up having a negative perception about making mistakes and feeling embarrassed about making mistakes. Yes, you are learning. It's an attempt. All it is an attempt. Attempt number 1, attempt number 2, number 3, but you're learning. Mistake doesn't mean you failed. There's 2 different types of failure. There's temporary defeat, and then there's failure. Temporary defeat, all it means is you've made a mistake, but you're going to continue to go. It's temporary. Failure only fail when you stop. There is no such thing as failure if you don't stop. That's why they say Jay-Z, everybody calls him a genius. And his response is, I'm not a genius, I just never gave up. I want you to think about that. There is no such thing as failure. You choose if there's failure. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I'm going to end on that. I hope you have taken away positives from this call. I know I have, from all of you that are sharing and from your responses in the chat, whether you're unmuted. I want to thank you all for taking part on this call, because I learned so much from you guys. I'm not doing this call just for you. I'm doing it also for me, because I understand when I give, guess what happens? More comes back. Okay. I am not afraid of you guys knowing this information. I want you to it. I want you to go and spread this word with your friends, your family members, and just give them, anytime you hear people that you know have a good heart around you that are looking at something negative, you be the person that gives them the positive perspective and the positive way in looking at it. And I guarantee you, amazing things will happen in your life. Okay. Love you all. I'll see you on the team training in a few minutes, guys. Ciao. Bye-bye.